what it means to be an American. America is freedom, and freedom is special and rare.
We, the people of this great nation.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
We, the people.
We, the people
of this great nation.
of this great nation.
Good morning, my fellow Americans. I hope everyone is starting off their day on a good start. I know a lot of people seem disappointed, and it seems like it's plastered all over Fox News, CNN, all over the place. Request denied. Supreme Court Justice Trump rejects Trump's allies to bid toss in the Pennsylvania mail-in ballots. Yeah, that's not the big story here. Okay? Just so people understand something, Texas took a stand, as Texans do. This is what I love about that damn Lone Star State, the great state of Texas. They took a stand, and now more states have jumped on board. You know what this means? This shit is going to the Supreme Court. Now, personally, I feel a little disappointed that the Supreme Court refused to take this appeal that Donald Trump's allies put into the Supreme Court, because it was a solid case. It was solid on its merit alone. But nevertheless, they refused to take it. But on the other side, we had states suing these swing states for fraud. So we are in a very, very good position, extremely good position. Now, I have my guest, and you all know him. It's Christopher Robin from Philadelphia, live. Hey, Chris, how are you?
Q.
I don't know what's the end game here. I know a bunch of states have jumped in. Okay, I know a bunch of states have jumped in. Florida jumped in. Alabama jumped in.
Yeah, this is going to be amazing because it's just how many states?
I believe 5 or 6 other states. Let me confirm exactly what states jumped in, because several states did jump in after Texas, which is good. Republicans are finally growing a sack. Because, I mean, bro, the American people cannot be the only people fighting this. These people, okay. So, Louisiana, Arkansas, Alabama, Florida, Kentucky, Mississippi, South Carolina, South Dakota. 7 states. I apologize. They're all going to jump in. By tomorrow morning, You'll see every Republican state jumping in.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's the right thing. It's to protect the vote of their state. The people that voted for Trump, that voted red, they voted conservative, and they're seeing fraud being committed, and they're not having it. Don't be surprised if you see Ohio jump in there. Don't be surprised if you see Indiana. I mean, don't be surprised if you start seeing all these states jumping in there. They're in every right to do so. There's anomalies here. I did a video today on Rumble. If you guys don't know this, I posted my first actual video on Rumble. I've designed an entire studio just for my streams, for my live videos, and I put out my first Rumble video, and it's based on simple logic on why this election was fraudulent. So if you guys want to check it out, it's at rumble.com, the Republican Nation. I mean, you cannot find me. The Republican Nation's everywhere. YouTube, the Republican Nation. Everywhere you go, the Republican Nation. That's all you got to search. And of course, I'm Jay Saber, and I'm the host. But anyways, that being said, there's a lot of other breaking news as well. Apparently, you I don't know if you guys recall that young gentleman from California that was so into impeaching Donald J. Trump happened,
Solwell, whatever his name is.
Happens to be hanging out with no other than a Chinese spy.
Yeah, it's her.
Wow, these guys are intelligent.
And
this whole time they're talking Russia, 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 Ukraine, Ukraine, Ukraine. Meanwhile, they're sleeping with Chinese spies. Wow, doesn't get any dumber than the Democratic Party. Does not. They reflect, like I said, they've always reflected. That's what they do. Whatever they're guilty of, they will accuse others of doing. When you hear them call you a racist, it's because they are the racist, because they have to. When they use identity politics, they're using it because they're racist. Today, an argument was brought to me while I was streaming live. Everybody was, oh, this guy, the Grand Wizard of the KKK, he was a Republican. He's a Republican.
Fuck out of here.
He is a Republican.
No, he was.
He is a Republican. Problem is, he became
he's a rhino. He ain't a Republican.
Of course, he's a
right.
rhino, of course. But this is the thing. David Duke was a Democrat at the rise of his power. When he was the Grand Wizard of the KKK, he then flipped Republican to try to get a seat in Congress, and he did. He successfully did. But let's get this correct here. This man was actually a Democrat for decades as a Ku Klux Klan member before joining the Republican Party. What does that tell you? The other argument, which I find quite interesting, is how Democrats suddenly think that they were the party of the Union and the Republicans were the party of the Confederates. I don't know where they get this ridiculous theory. LBJ, and everybody knows who that is. If you don't, it's President Johnson, was actually caught. He was actually caught. And of course, you know how Democrats work. Unless affidavits don't count, eyewitnesses don't count. But there has been books published on this. And some of his cabinet members overheard him saying that we do this, we'll have these N people voting for us, which blacks voting for us for the next 200 years. Yeah, that was not too long ago when he said that comment. The Democratic Party never flipped Republican. It's always been the same party. The party of the KKK, the party of racism, the party of slavery. The only thing that changed was people's values. People became less racist throughout time. That's what happened. That's why the South, if the South was waiting, they sure as hell waited a long ass time. Because it was in 1992 that Bill Clinton won the South. So again, I went off topic. This isn't the topic we're talking about. I had to bring it up because it's just when you are constantly debating with these retards on these libtards on all these liberal platforms, it's just entertaining to see how uneducated they are and how educated they think they are and how much they think they know more than others when in reality they know nothing. They haven't had a job yet. They still don't have kids. They still live in their mom's house. And they're preaching communism when they know nothing about it in a free country. Anyway, so let's go back. So what do you think so big about this news about the states? Tell me. What do you foresee, Chris? What is...
like you said, it's going to go to the Supreme Court. I think this whole election is going to be overturned. Really do. Sounds crazy, but there's just so much fraud. And if you have every state, going to the Supreme Court, that's some serious shit.
Well, this was actually, Sean Hannity actually mentioned this yesterday. Why don't they pack it up together? And then Ted Cruz had responded that a state would actually have to file the lawsuit. And then it happens today. It happens prior. And then it's sad because Donald Trump, before the Supreme Court made their decision, he was like, hopefully, they stand up and they don't get intimidated. And apparently the Supreme Court got intimidated. I'm going to tell you what I think is going to happen. Right. Supreme Court is going to look at the case. They're going to see that there's a lot of constitutional problems here. A lot of people broke laws. A lot of people didn't follow the Constitution, and they're going to shoot it down to the House. That is what I see. I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be way too much for them to handle. They're going to be like, this is beyond our pay grade. This is way above us. They may rule on something on maybe Pennsylvania being unconstitutional, Wisconsin. Yeah. But then they're going to be like, we can't rule on Georgia. There's proof of fraud, but we can't overturn an election. This has to be handled by the lawmakers. And they're going to shoot it down to Congress. And Congress is going to vote for Trump.
Oh yeah.
And then it's game over, Joe. Then it's game over. Sleepy Joe, you can go
Joe,
back to
you will
sleeping.
not step a foot in that fucking White House. Not 1 foot. Sorry.
Tell me how it's possible. I mean, because people are always talking, oh, Joe Biden showed his tax returns. Joe Biden this, Joe Biden that. He's so transparent. He's the greatest.
You know what that consists of.
Huh?
You know what that consists of.
Well, I mean, it's bank statements. You can't do anything.
Yeah.
You can't do anything with tax returns. Don't really show where money came from or where it came. But what I found to be extremely, extremely interesting that Joe Biden's tax returns showed that he was worth in 2016 $396,000, somewhere around that range, that he made that year. From 2017 to 2019, he's $16,596,979. That's a big jump in income. Big jump in income. Apparently, Russia pays very well. Apparently, China pays very well, and apparently, Ukraine pays very well. That being said, I don't see him in the White House anymore. I can't believe that Georgia disregards the fact that there's people, family members of people showing this on live video and them rigging the election, and that's not enough evidence for them. It's just, Ruby, her daughter, a bunch of different people in Georgia committing fraud, all of them connected with one another, and all of them lawyered up, may I add. They've all lawyered up.
They know it.
They've all lawyered up.
Down. They're going down.
You want me to tell you what? You want me to tell you where the Democrats fucked up? They fucked up in thinking Americans weren't going to vote for Trump. That's where they fucked up. They didn't know the overwhelming amount of turnout that Donald Trump was going to have.
Exactly. It was overwhelming this time, like more than ever.
We hit them with the boom, boom. And unfortunately, they had to shut shit down, and it made it so obvious. And then when you just start breaking it down, common sense tells you something doesn't feel right here. You don't break Obama's record and win less counties than he does.
I know.
It just doesn't.
Stupidly crazy.
It just doesn't make sense. Can you even compare? Let's just talk about identity politics for a second. This man was the first president to run as a black president, historical, because this is a historical moment when the United States gets their first black president. But Joe Biden manages to beat him. Are you kidding me? A guy that didn't even campaign, had 1,000 people watching his speech live. His
How
Thanksgiving.
Much did you beat him by?
15 million. Not a large number, just 15 million. And may I add, Donald Trump broke the record of any incumbent president. So, this is just utterly ridiculous. Trump should be the guy with the most votes in history, and he should be also the most votes as an incumbent president. That just shows you how much people support Donald Trump. I'm telling you, I'm still with that number. I think Joe Biden got like 40 million votes at most, and that's because of New York and California. He didn't get those votes.
Who was that lawyer that went the other side? Went right? That was left. What was his name? The big civil rights lawyer.
Oh, Terrell?
Is that his name?
Yeah.
What's his first name?
I forget his first name. The civil rights lawyer. Leo Terrell. I think it's Leo.
Yeah. 2.0, right?
Leo 2.0.
Yeah. That right there was the turnaround right there. That's showing that many Democrats are going the other way and not letting you know. But he was just so happy about it, so excited. He's seen the lies, and he just wanted to show everybody, that who he stands for and why.
Listen, bottom line is,
I used to hate him.
Bottom line is, Leo Terrell, yeah, that's him. Bottom line is, you do not get more African American votes, and more Hispanic votes than you did in 2016, and more than any Republican, and lose the election. Sorry, they just needed, I don't know, they needed like an 8% or something like that to win the election. The man got like 12 or 13%. turnout of black
Exactly.
voters for Trump. So yeah, the likelihood of Joe Biden winning legitimately, slim to none. Slim to none. Do I think that he knows what's going on? Probably not. He probably thinks he really did win the election. But again, he's also, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. This is the same man that mentioned the Logan Act. This is the same man that's.
I think he knows a lot more than we think he does. You know.
I mean,
there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Definitely.
Now they have till Thursday, 3:00 to respond. Apparently, the states. I don't know what they have to respond to, whether they have to countersue or I'm not sure exactly. I know that we're waiting for results. There is something big. Apparently, tomorrow they're releasing the results of the last test, the Minion test. I don't know if it was today that they were releasing it or if it's tomorrow. They did another test on the Dominion computer, the Dominion voting device. And they're supposed to be releasing the results. So we shall know. We shall know. Let me explain to you how the Dominion process works so people can understand how dangerous this is, okay? So what they did is they put 100 ballots that were Trump, 100 ballots that were Biden. They had the machines count them. And when the machine counted them, it was weighted 3% for Biden. So it was weighted 3% against Trump.
Right. Of course.
Now they're going to do it at a higher level.
Why?
They're going to do it at a higher level, and they're going to see what happens. And if it happens again at a higher level, then we can confirm that fraud is there and it's within the margin of error. Donald Trump takes Arizona without a question, without a doubt in anybody's mind. Donald Trump did take...
And that opens up the floodgates for every other state.
Well, let me explain to you why this is so crucial. And I said this in my Rumble video. This is why Texas filing the lawsuit is so crucial. And I'm going to explain the key reason why the key reason why them going to the Supreme Court is key. They rejected the Dominion system. They actually verified that it was fraudulent. It didn't meet their standards. They're going to be able to present evidence of their findings and why they chose not to use Dominion. And that's going to be a problem for the Democrats. A huge problem for the Democrats. Hold on. Hold on. Arizona GOP chair makes the case for Arizona. The state's chairwoman comments to Newsmax TV. Kelly, her team's investigation to possible irregularities stemming from, Arizona's going to be next. People are posting comments. It's so funny. I don't know what's going to happen. I believe they'll release the information tomorrow, and we shall know.
I mean, Jay, Georgia, you have Kemp. Wasn't he like awarded like $100 million contract or something with Dominion or something like that?
Well, they say that there's connections, financial connections between him, the Dominion, and all. I don't know. The Kraken that this lady claims she released. She didn't release any Kraken, but the Kraken. You want me to tell you what I think the Kraken is? The American people. We are the Kraken. They have released the Kraken. They've released us. And we're not buying it. We are not buying it. And by the way, the judge dropped the case finally after he's been pardoned and everything. General Flynn, the judge dropped the case, and now Senator Tom Cotton. Well, Senator Tom Cotton wants cause for impeachment. He's calling for impeachment of that judge. That judge was being completely biased. He's a piece of shit.
Oh, yeah.
He's a piece of shit. Yeah, of course he will, if we take control of the Senate. It's the funniest thing. I'm seeing all these memes, right, of the governor wearing like a Chinese mask. Like people have been putting images of a Chinese, because George Kemp. There's something up with this guy. There's something up with Brian Kemp. There is something. The Georgia governor. There's something up with him.
Jay, the software, the company had like multiple links to China, like multiple.
Look, nobody's even talking about
conspiracy there.
There's not even nobody's even talking about in the mainstream about Emar.
Of course not.
She gave her fucking husband money, or boyfriend, whatever the fuck he is. She was giving him money from campaign funds. You think she wasn't getting kickbacks from that?
Fuck yeah.
But they don't get investigated. Nobody cares. This is the craziest shit I've ever seen in my entire life. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be right back.
Do you feel homeless in today's American political world? Not really into either candidate or party? Well, guess what? You're not alone. Join me and others just like you across this great country for a discussion of politics from a viewpoint that you can't find in today's media. The Middle. I'm your host, Brian Grozier, and I invite you to join in on the discussion by downloading and listening to the Middle American Podcast.
It will be investigated once President Trump is president again, and they know it. They know all hell's breaking loose once he's president again. So they're just trying to, like I said, they're trying to do whatever they can to win this election and just steal it pretty much. I mean, that's what they did. And they think that we're going to fold and just let it happen. There's no way. Absolutely no way.
Oh no, Americans are not going to stand for that. Come on.
So did you hear that, we're talking about Biden's picks, this and that. You heard that Trump, appointed Conway again.
What?
For a government position.
Who?
Conway.
Kellyanne Conway?
Kelly Conway? Yeah.
Yeah, of course, because she's speaking loudly. Apparently her husband got to her, and apparently she's betraying Trump.
Well, I mean, he's appointing her to the board of visitors of the U.S. Air Force Academy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him.
That's not just it.
Huh?
Trump also made nominations for the transportation secretary, and he's just going to keep making nominations because he's not going anywhere, and he knows it.
Well, I mean, he said it today in the press release. He goes, "You guys are very confident." He goes, I think the transition." He was saying something along the lines like saying the next administration is going to have it pretty easy, which I think it's going to be us. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I love Trump, man. I love Trump, and I don't care if people call me a cult follower. I'm not a cult follower. I'm patriotic. I love my president, and you know what? I felt the same way about Bush.
Followers.
I felt the same way about Bush until he fucked us. But I was a very strong.
Shit too. No,
I was a very strong Bush supporter, and then once history always, as time passes, you see the results of what these presidents did when they were in office. And Bush was a disaster as a president. And now I look back, he led us into a war that was an unnecessary war. He destabilized the entire area. And it was just ridiculous. All because he had a vendetta against Saddam Hussein because of his dad.
Right.
So, I mean, the bottom line is, oh shit. I'm looking at the docket right now. For the docket that was added, Texas plaintiff versus Pennsylvania. Proceedings and orders. Spit
it up, pal.
No, nothing. I'm just looking at the proceeding, at the filing.
Oh.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's over. It's over. I'm
so happy, you're finally saying that.
I'm at this point, it's a tough one. It's a tough one because this was the worst case scenario. This was what everybody was worried about. This is what people were worried about, was the fact that they would go ahead and a state would. This was the only way to get it to the Supreme Court quick, is if a state files a lawsuit. Now it's a whole different ballgame. Now it's not Trump's legal team. Now it's states filing lawsuits. It's completely different. It changes the whole thing. Okay.
Right.
So let me see here. Alabama, Mississippi, Texas law challenging election procedures in Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Georgia. I don't know why they didn't mention Arizona and Nevada there, but They should have mentioned all the fucking states. They might as well hit them all. I mean, they're all fraudulent. They should have hit California,
They
New
will.
York.
They will. They're all going to jump in.
I mean, Fox is doing bad. They're losing. They're losing their ratings faster than a speeding bullet.
Are they really? I didn't check the ratings of that.
John James still. I don't think John James has conceded yet, which is the guy in Michigan, the senator for Michigan. Huh?
Yeah.
Has he conceded or no?
Not that I know of. No.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me see. 2 hours ago, Supreme Court makes huge move. Will take up Texas case contesting election results. Hold on. How accurate is this? They have no choice. And boy, one of those Supreme Court justices is waiting to fuck over Joe Biden. Do you know who that is?
Oh, I don't know. Who do you think?
I mean, you tell me. The man that Biden accused of being a rapist.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's a few against him. You know what I mean?
No. This man is right now he's the only black man in the Supreme Court.
Yeah, you're talking about what the fuck's his name?
Come on, I'll give you a hint. Thomas. C.
Honest?
Huh? Clarence?
Honest what?
Isn't it Clarence Thomas?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, Clarence Thomas. Yep.
Yeah. So, that's it. I mean, this is something big.
What about the campaign that we were watching for Warnock and Loeffler? That was incredible.
What do you mean?
She destroyed him completely.
I mean, it's not very difficult to destroy somebody that's a Marxist, a communist. I mean, that guy had Fidel Castro come to his church. So I mean, that says enough. I mean, the guy's a piece of shit. And the guy is he doesn't stand a chance. He doesn't stand a chance. He never stood a chance. Ossoff, on the other hand, he's a little more intelligent. I do think Perdue was a little scared because he got annihilated by Ossoff in the previous Republicans block inaugural committee recognizing Biden as president. Oh shit!
Yeah, what's that? CNN?
No. Hold on. I think I hold on. Republicans block inaugural committee recognizing Biden as president.
Did they really?
Oh my God!
Are you sure that's recent?
Yeah. It's today's. Yeah. It's recent.
No way.
This is funny. December 8th. Yeah. Mitch McConnell.
Oh man, I didn't hear that. That's awesome.
Mitch McConnell was like, "Yeah, it ain't happening."
Oh man, that's official. That's crazy. They're gonna try to fucking get their way out of that somehow. CNN will give us some fake news, you know.
I mean, no. The thing is that apparently now things are getting real, man. This may have been Trump's Twitter suspends campaign account of Pennsylvania senator after powerful speech at election fraud hearings. It's nice. We got all techs. We got big tech destroying our democracy. I mean, this is just crazy, man. I mean, to me, this is the most insane year that we've ever encountered. This will go down in the history books as one of the worst years. And guys, it's not going away. 2021 is just going to be just as bad because the Democrats will not, even if Donald Trump is president, they will continue pushing. They will continue killing these Democratic states. Yeah. I mean, these Democratic states are fucked with these governors they have. I mean, they are screwed. DeSantis, He just reaffirmed that he's not going to mandate masks in Florida. He's not going to do it. He's just not going to do it. At a 99% survival rate, sorry, plus a vaccine coming with a 95% effectiveness, yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I mean, you've got to be dumb to go that avenue. But it's getting interesting. Nevertheless, it's getting extremely interesting. The fight is getting real, and I'm excited. I can't lie. I'm excited. The funny thing is, I look at Fox News' main page, right? I always go to Fox News. It's habit. I'm gonna soon change that. The first thing Fox News has as the mainstream, like, news article: Supreme Court rejects Trump allies' bid to toss Pennsylvania mill. They do not mention anything that Texas filed a lawsuit. Again, I mean, it's crazy that they're not even mentioning that, and that's bigger news than, I mean, it's just insane to me. How can you not mention the one of the most important things? I mean, this. Oh my God. It's just insane to me. It is utterly insane to me that they're just disregarding it. Man, these people are in on it too, man. Guys, don't be fooled. These people are just, they're in on it just as much. Jordan Sokolow to Newsback. SCOTUS case from Texas AG is be all end all. Jordan Sokolow said that. SCOTUS case from Texas AG is be all and end all. Appearing on Newsmax on Tuesday night, the Trump lawyer said that the states accused of unlawfully enacting last-minute voting changes, Georgia, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, have been given a Thursday afternoon deadline to file responses. The case may be the accumulation of all of President Trump's legal efforts to nullify the November 3rd election results. Representative Andy Biggs on Newsmax, amazed, disappointed by SCOTUS. A lot of people are disappointed by them. New White House offer adds 600 checks to COVID-19 relief. New $600 checks to COVID-19 relief. I mean, Donald Trump is fighting a battle by himself. It's so crazy to me when I see all this stuff. When I see the poor man fighting for us, and it's just, he's all by himself, you know. It's just like, and now finally people are stepping up.
Yeah, but Jay, this is straight. I explained to you before, this is spiritual warfare, okay? Donald Trump has God watching everything he does and helping him. You understand that? I'm telling you. This is no joke. It's the only way this can happen. Only way. I'm telling you.
What happened? What happened with Nancy Pelosi's stimulus package? We're never going to get one. Americans are going to be starving. Americans are going to be suffering. Meanwhile, these Democratic governors are living the life.
Like I said, once this is over, Donald Trump is the president, all hell is going to break loose. I'm telling you, these Democrats are going down. Every one of these motherfuckers are going down, and they know it. They know it. We're talking treason. We're talking all kinds of crazy, major criminals against humanity. I'm telling you, it's going to be absolutely pandemonium, and it sounds so far-fetched because it hasn't happened in all these years. Because the deep state was the owner of the United States, not our president wasn't, he was a president, but he can only do so much stuff without the help of the Democrats. But once he brings these people down and shows what they're about, because look like you said, look at Solwell. Solwell, it's proven that he's having an affair with Chinese operative, spies. Feinstein, she's known that she was dealing with a spy for like 20 years.
I'm just saying, this is breaking news. I mean, Robert De Niro better pack his bags and get the fuck out of here, because he said he was leaving the country. So if Donald Trump gets elected, he better prepare himself for Inauguration Day. I mean, listen, I'll withdraw all the money in my bank and rent a private jet for him to choose anywhere he wants, anywhere in the country. I will drain my accounts. Okay, I will drain my accounts to get Robert De Niro the fuck out of here, along with the entire crew of The View, with Whoopi Goldberg and Rosie O'Donnell sitting next to each other. These unpatriotic Americans that don't give a flying fuck about the rest of Americans. Okay,
I don't think it's just that. I think they're all guilty of some major shit.
They're not guilty of anything. They're not guilty of anything. They're dumb. It's plain and simple. They're just dumb people. They just hate Donald Trump so much that they don't see what's right in front of them. Either they see it and they just ignore it, but I mean, look, I'm not gonna go into the QAnon shit with you today. Okay, I'm not going
Q. I'm just telling you, like, I believe that they're in some serious shit. And
they're not in any serious shit. They just fucking, they hate Donald Trump. They hate Republicans.
Just remember what
they've been treating Republicans. They've been treating Republicans like shit since the beginning of time. I mean, Judge Janine got on The View, was basically kicked out by Whoopi Goldberg because Judge Janine knew what she was talking about. Whoopi Goldberg didn't agree, and it's their show, and they call the shots, you know? So, I mean, these people have shown their true colors time and time again. I don't understand why we continue to let them bully us around, look down at us, think that we're less than they are. Okay, we're not less than they are. We love this country, and we don't think Democrats are less than us. We just want transparency. We want a fair voting system without I mean, listen, our most fundamental right as Americans is the right to vote. That's the biggest, most prideful thing a person can have is when you vote for somebody, even though you might live in a liberal place, that you know your vote might not mean anything, because at the end of the day, it's going to end up being a Democrat or Republican winning. You still casted your vote, and you're part of that number that's tabulated when it's tabulated legally, not when you're given 30 million votes. And that's something so important. And we have to address it now, especially before these runoffs. They're not making any changes in Georgia. As a matter of fact, I think that if they catch the voter fraud, I think it'll show that Perdue and Loeffner actually won the Senate seat heavily. I think they won it easy. But if they don't change these rules prior to this runoff, we're going to have problems. And it doesn't look like the Secretary of State's doing anything about it, nor the governor. I don't think they care. And right now, Brian Kemp, I feel bad for you because you're the enemy of the American people. Georgia hates you. I mean, already the poll numbers are showing it. There's numbers saying that most Georgians don't like him anymore. They lost complete respect for the man. Killed his reputation for taking bribes and not wanting to have transparency. This man has something to hide, because if you have nothing to hide, there's no reason you shouldn't want signature verification on these ballots. How do you have a double standard? How do you do that? How do you make it more difficult for people that come in person to vote than you do for people that mail in votes? You mail in a vote, they don't even verify your signature through the system. All you have to do is sign the envelope, sign the ballot. Yet when you go in person, you have to show an ID, they signature match through their database to make sure you are who you say you are, and then you can cast your vote. Why do they do that? Because Republicans tend to vote in person. Everything is pinned against Republicans. It is always so much harder for Republicans to win an election. And even then, they still try to cheat the election. Even when we have all odds against us, they still try to cheat the election. Even when the American people want Donald Trump. I mean, you're going to tell me that Joe Biden won 80% of the independent vote? Because that's what the numbers are saying. That he won 80% of the independent vote. Highly unlikely. The man was a ghost for months. A man needed 4 days to rest before a debate. How many days will he need to rest before meeting with a world leader? 2 weeks? Will he have to schedule these people a year in advance? Will he meet with 4 world leaders in 4 years if he was president? Luckily, it doesn't look like that's going to happen. It looks like Trump's going to take over, and he's going to end up being our president. I'm optimistic. I don't want to be extremely hopeful. Anything can happen. It's 2020. Shit. I mean, the world feels like it's going. I mean, I feel like I'm living in the twilight zone. I don't know if you feel the same way, Chris, but anything can happen. I mean, I'm still doubtful, but hopeful.
Nothing not expecting. You know what I mean? I always expected the Democrats to really bump it up to that point of no return, and that's what they're doing now.
Well, I mean, they're gonna bring in the legal team. That's, I mean, because if something Democrats are, is plenty of lawyers. None of them military, but all of them lawyers.
But it doesn't matter. Law is law, and you can't go against the law. No matter what kind of argument you try to give, it doesn't matter.
The only two states that they have that. Okay, these are the arguments they have in Pennsylvania. They did not pass it through legislation. Okay, and the Constitution requires them to do a specific. The people have to vote on it as well. So Pennsylvania, on its merit, is a solid case. It should have been an open and shut case on the ballots. It's just a very difficult decision for the Supreme Court to make, to say, listen, 2.6 million votes do not count. That's a difficult decision to make for any Supreme Court justice, because you're literally disenfranchising at least maybe 500,000 that actually voted.
Right.
But nevertheless, Wisconsin, that is another complicated one that they have a legal case as well. They've always required people to have signed prior to doing an absentee ballot. They have to have an application with it. They didn't do it this time around. That's state law. Okay, so those are the two cases there. Then we can move to Georgia and the fraud, and the obvious apparent fraud, and the fact that they made it harder for people that were voting in person. And then you go into Michigan, which is an interesting one. Michigan, I don't think they have the strongest case in Michigan, but the irregularities and the numbers and the dumpings and the amount of people that voted in specific areas compared to the number of people that are actually registered voters. May I add, in Georgia, they also have an issue that there's a bunch of underage people that happen to be registered to vote, which is also illegal. Arizona, apparently they're finding flaws in the machines. Then you got Nevada, that's a fucking mess. They were a mess in the primaries, they're a mess now. Yeah, so all these states have an avenue, all these states have an opening for Donald Trump to get in there. Now, whether or not the court sees it that way, it's up to the court. It's up to the Supreme Court. After it goes to the Supreme Court, if Trump does not win, it's over. Unless the Supreme Court sends it down to the House, and then it's over for the Democrats. That's pretty much the outcomes we have here. I don't know what responses. I'm sure they're working around the clock, all these states right now, with this lawsuit that was just filed against them. I don't know what their response is going to be. But at the end of the day, I still believe this is going to go straight to the Supreme Court. This is big news. This is big news, and this should make a lot of Trump supporters out there feel extremely good. Right now, a lot of Trump supporters should feel that we are in a very good position, and a lot of Democrats should be shaking in their boots. That's my opinion on that. Chris, would you like to throw something in there?
Yeah, I want to talk about this COVID thing. What I stated before, obviously it's in my layman's terms the way I explain it to you. Where what was it, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago? I guess I explained it to your audience. Where basically they never isolated the disease itself. You have to prove that, number one, there is multiple genomes and multiple organisms that are showing that there is a disease in the part of the fragments, and they never can show that because they never isolated the disease itself. So I'm looking online, and this is just exactly what I'm trying to explain. but in more of medical terms. So it says the PCR test attempts to detect the presence of the virus by analyzing viral RNA, which is ribonucleic acid fragments.
Oh
this
shit!
requires an
Oh shit!
amplification.
Hold on. This is some pretty late breaking news. Arizona has used Article 2 to call their own electorals. So now Arizona is even. The electorals are even now. Interesting.
Are you done now?
I mean, yeah, I'm done.
So this requires amplification process to increase the amount of RNA in order to have a sample large enough to compare with the standardized viral sample. But the viral sample is not a definite, it's a definite person that has the virus because it was never isolated. So that's why it's not reliable. Okay. So in order to have a sample large enough.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to continue to block you off. It's just bombshell after bombshell just keeps coming up, and it's just so funny. Joe Biden, the Pentagon blocks Biden from meeting with the military intelligence. They're not letting Joe Biden anywhere near anything.
Oh yeah, because he's fucked. He's done, and they know about it now. They know it more than any. They have so much proof now.
Oh my God,
he is fucked.
I mean, and then please have. This is somebody who posted this on. They just posted this right now as I'm doing this. They wrote, please have a thought for all those Biden cabinet picks whom are being promised a new job on January 20th. Hopefully they know he's been making empty promises for 47 years. Oh my God, this is crazy. And now people are saying that it's very possible that the Supreme Court denied that one case because why take one case when four of them are going to be presented at one time? So I don't know how accurate that is because I think the case was dismissed before they filed I'm not sure.
Are you going to stop, interrupting me?
Go ahead. Talk about your COVID BS and trying to prove that you were correct on COVID.
Before I was interrupted again, you have to have more than one organism and more than one genome.
Let me explain to you something, buddy. Let me explain to you something. This is my show.
Are you stupid?
Okay? Go on.
Okay, so I understand it's your show. All right,
I love you, brother. It's your show right now. Go take over.
Yeah. So you have to have more than one organism, more than one genome to prove. And number one, to prove that the disease is there, but it still has to have proof that the disease is legit. So it has to be isolated, and it was never isolated in the first place. So even though they're using a PCR test, which is the most reliable test they have, they still have to have an isolated organism that is basically identified, numerous times, repeatedly copied, to show the increasing tiny fragments to detectable levels. And they're not. And they never did. So that's the problem, is they're shutting everybody down, locking everybody down. This is a complete scare tactic because they want to destroy this economy, and they're scaring everybody thinking you're going to get a disease, you're going to get this. Number one, I explained to you, you can't get a virus. You cannot get a fucking virus, okay? It's not going to happen. Your body gets a virus from you being sick because you have major disgusting waste in you. Number one, you're not having 3 or more bowel movements a day, which hardly anybody does. It's sad. So you're not drinking enough water, which is every 50 pounds of body weight, you want to have a liter of water to have it so you're not dehydrated. Okay, that's number one. Number two is the food you're eating is so many chemicals in it. It's creating your body to have waste to create a virus to try to clean itself out. So that's the problem here. But my point here is that every test is BS. It's always been BS, and they knew it's been BS, And like I said, my sister is a professional. She goes on the CDC website, and she can see what you guys don't see because you're not professionals. And she knows how to read it the way a professional should read it and understand it, the words that you would never understand. And it's exactly what I just stated. The tests are unreliable. They've never been reliable. It's never had the disease isolated itself. So it's complete BS. So my point is that they're closing these companies down, these small businesses, and I think everybody should just revolt against everybody, about the cops, everybody. I don't care if you get fines galore, $15,000, $20,000 fines. I guarantee you, once Trump is back in presidency, he's going to get rid of all those fines. I guarantee it. So
listen, what is the easiest thing to control? What is the best strategy? How do you control people? You put fear in them.
Oh, scare tactic.
You put fear in them. People that react on fear can be controlled. Feelings can be controlled. So this is what they do. They're scaring the shit out of everybody in order to control them, and people are following along, including these dumbasses in Hollywood that obviously have a brain the size of a peanut.
Well,
I mean, obviously, they're getting perks while the other. I mean, did you see that poor lady that she sit literally right next to her restaurant? They put a tent for a movie production set. Apparently, they're essential workers, but restaurant owners can go fuck themselves after they adjusted their entire restaurants just to be able to be COVID safe. It's a hypocrisy all across. All these people are getting caught being hypocrites. And you know what? All I've got to say is the truth shall set us free, and we will find out the truth about all of this. History always writes about people, writes about the things that occurred, and it never forgets.
Right, it repeats itself over and over, and that's how they got this fear factor.
I don't know if it repeats itself. I don't know.
This whole fear factor came from Hitler. That's how he controlled the masses. It just happens now. That's what they're doing. They're doing the same thing he did.
Look, at the end of the day, I can't wait to gloat. I told everybody I wouldn't, but I will. If Donald Trump gets reelected, I will be gloating. I will be gloating, and I will be happy, and I will spread the happiness to all my left-wing followers all over these platforms that I'm on, whether they like it or not. Man. They've been calling me. They say I'm delusional. They say I'm crazy. They've been saying all these things for weeks, and I've just been taking it in because, I mean, listen, could there have been a possibility that Joe Biden won? Yes, but not under these circumstances. If you would have told me that he won specific states, counties, and everything was on the
singular states.
I mean,
that's all I say.
but when the man wins literally the counties that are the most corrupt counties, specific areas where he needs to win, specific areas that they can rig, specific states that they needed.
Yep.
And the question that always comes back to me is when the Trump when the Biden campaign went, this is kind of suspicious. People don't really remember this, but why did the Biden campaign think that they had a chance in Georgia prior to the election?
Right.
They were campaigning. They went to campaign in Georgia, and they were like, does he honestly think that he stands a chance in Georgia? Now it makes sense.
Right.
They were setting the groundwork. They were letting people know. They were setting the groundwork. Stacey Abrams was doing the dirty work. Mind you, a lady that still hasn't conceded to losing the governor spot. I mean, it's years later and she still hasn't conceded. I don't think she'll ever concede. I mean, these are all useless officials that I don't know why they're even in office. I don't know why they work for our government. These are people that don't care about Americans. They don't care about your lives. They don't care about anything.
Speaking about appointed by the government, CDC head is appointed by Obama.
Mm-hmm.
This was known. This was set up from day one. I hope Donald Trump, our president, I hope when he becomes president again, I hope he takes him down, because he's the one that is BSing everybody about this bullshit freaking disease. It's complete bullshit. Complete. Oh my God, it gets me so fucking pissed off. And I mean, he's not going to sit there and give Donald Trump anything.
I don't understand why the Lincoln Project. I don't understand why the Lincoln Project continues to involve themselves in all this. Apparently, they're preparing lawyers to help Joe Biden. What? These are not Republicans.
No way.
These guys should all be.
The rhinos. That is it.
It's like
the Trojan horse.
Every time that we see these people in the streets, we should remind them, America doesn't like you.
Jay, it doesn't matter. It's going to come out. I'm telling you, every one of these motherfuckers are going to go down. Every one of them.
I hope they do.
Trust me.
Every single one of them. Every single one of them needs to go to jail. Every single one of them.
They are writing names down, dude. They know who the traitors are. They know who the treasoners are.
And I'm going to tell you, furthermore, I'm going to tell you, they need to put James Comey behind bars for lying to Congress. They need to indict. If Trump gets reelected, he needs to go a different avenue. He was trying to play ball with the Democrats. He was trying to play good. He was trying to work with them. He needs to go in and he needs to clean this shit out. So the next president that comes into a clean house. Because I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you something. This is the dirtiest things I've ever seen in my entire life, man. And I don't think we'll ever see something as dirty as this again, unless Joe Biden becomes president. Then this is going to be the norm.
Yeah.
But if Donald Trump gets reelected, he needs to really, his main focus, fuck the economy, fuck all this shit. They need to do reform on elections, and they need to drain this fucking dirty, nasty swamp that we have in Washington. Starting with Nancy Pelosi, second in line, Chucky Schumer, that looks like the devil himself. Every time that man smiles, he looks evil as hell. I'm just saying, he looks like a character. He looks like some sort of comic book character, like someone who would be playing a bad guy in a comic book.
Right.
I mean, he's just a mean looking person, like pretending to be a happy person. And it's awesome to see him as a minority too in the Senate. Because it sucks, because he basically talks and he knows nobody's listening. Nobody really cares about what he's saying, because the decision's going to be made at the end of the day by Mitch McConnell. That being said, I'm also disappointed with Mitch McConnell. He needs to move forward with some sort of stimulus. He needs to help Americans. Okay, he really does need to help Americans, because there's a lot, unfortunately, governors are fucking over a lot of Americans, and Americans do need help. They need help. I know a lot of people personally here in Florida that lost their businesses because of all these fucking lockdowns early on, and they still haven't been able to get back on their feet. Let's not talk about credit. Credit will take a person 8 or 9 years to recuperate from that. So all these people that their credits got destroyed during this pandemic, it's going to take them 8 or 9 years to get back on their feet. Some of these people are too old to get back on their feet. Okay, so we really need to do something about this. The Senate needs to step up, and the House, I don't know why they would have reelected Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House, but hopefully she's another one that gets a nice fat indictment. But I can't see where she did any crimes. I just think she's a typical politician.
Oh, come on. She's involved in a bunch of shit, man.
She weaseled this mail-in ballot voting shit. But aside from that, it's getting to that hour marker. I don't usually like passing the hour marker. Okay, so that being said, guys, don't forget, if you want to be on my show, shoot me an email, a Republican Nation at gmail.com. You can follow me anywhere. Rumble, The Republican Nation. Instagram, The Republican Nation. Facebook. You can go. I'm on every single platform. You guys can send me a message, and I will be more than glad to have you on my show. The audience is growing. It's getting bigger and bigger by the day. I'm a small podcast, but I reach a large volume of people considering. So that being said, guys, I just want you guys to stay optimistic but realistic. And I know that sounds weird to say, but I strongly believe Donald Trump, and I've had this. I mean, if you guys hear my podcast, you know that I've always seen a pathway to his victory. I see it stronger now that states are involved and they've gotten themselves involved in this. And I think the states by tomorrow, well, by the time that you guys listen to this show, there's going to be more states added onto this. Because I pre-record this, so this is recorded the night before. It'll be live at 7 a.m. Every single day, Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. You can hear a brand new show. And most likely Chris will be on just because you got to have a QAnon guy in here. If you don't have a loony, you don't have a show. I need to have somebody here, although a lot of the stuff he says is normal, factual stuff. So, I mean, I just like calling him the Q guy because he's my Q guy. Not everybody can say they have a Q guy. Right, Chris?
That's right. I want to say something, too.
Go ahead. Say something.
So, to all your Democratic friends, I don't hate you guys, and I hope you don't hate me. I just do my research extensively, and I get both parties' views on everything, and then I make my own analysis, hypothesis. So I ask you, as a human being, to don't get brainwashed. Look at everybody's views and come up with your own, decision or hypothesis of what you think is really happening. Just don't be watching, one channel 24/7 or listen to one station 24/7. Listen to everybody's views and see what's going out there. What they're saying, on Fox. What they're saying on what is that what is that AOX or something like that? What is that, Jay?
OAN.
What is it? OEN.
OAN. Newsmax.
OAN. Yeah, OAN and.
You can even listen. You can even tune Newsmax. You can even tune into CNN, but put all of them together and then come up with your own conclusion, and see which one feels more reliable. I understand where you're coming from, but nevertheless, guys, again, I've always been a Trump supporter. You guys can look at my personal Instagram page. I've been supporting Donald Trump since 2015. I'm looking right now where my podcast equipment and all my studio's at. I'm looking at literally his invitation to his first inauguration, which was it was just amazing. And I didn't attend, but I was invited and I framed the invitation from Donald Trump. Because it was truly an honor, and I voted for somebody that I thought was different. And again, I was hesitant. I supported him, but I thought it was going to be just like any other standard person that was going to do nothing, and he proved me wrong. I was hopeful that he was going to do the things he promised. I believed in him, and he did it. He did it, and that's why people are reelecting him. That's why people voted for him. This is a man that promises made, promises kept, and promises continue to be kept. I mean, and he keeps fighting for us, and we need to fight back, and we can't let these fucking Democrats just rob us. We cannot allow them to do this. People got to stand up. People can't be afraid of these liberals. They can't do anything to you. They're weak. When people make threats and they start making, let me tell you something. When people start telling you that they're going to kill you, when people start making you making threats on your life, they're pussies. They're cowards. Words don't hurt. They're not going to do anything. Nobody's going to allow anybody to do anything to you. You've got more patriots behind you than what you think. Trust me, America's well aware of the situation that's happening, and your fellow neighbor is going to be there for you. Your fellow patriot's going to be there for you. Don't be afraid to speak your mind. Don't be afraid to say what you feel. Do not be afraid to support Donald Trump. There's nothing to be ashamed of. The man has accomplished more than the last two presidents that was a total of 16 fucking years. He accomplished more in his 4 years. Well, he accomplished more in his first 2 years than they did in their 16 years. So do not be ashamed of standing up for what you believe in. That is what patriotism is, and that is our God-given right and our right as Americans. That being said, God bless you, God bless your families, and God bless this beautiful country we call America.
We will make America great again.
Hi, it's Judge Janine. I want to thank you for listening to the Republican Nation podcast. It's an important podcast to listen to because the Republican Nation is all about the Constitution, the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, and all of those rights that are important to all of us. We've got to make sure that America doesn't lose any of those rights and that we stay true to our founding fathers' intent. So thanks again for listening to the Republican Nation.